City of Angels.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, AB, fabulous AB. Most importantly, I hope you're all doing well and your mental health is up there and not down. I wanted perhaps a change of scenery today, so I hope you guys like it. Five pros of living in Los Angeles. Number one, weather. Perhaps one of the major reasons why people move here, aside from Hollywood and the industry, over here in Los Angeles, the weather is luscious. I mean almost all year round. I, for example, lived in the UK before moving to LA, and the weather was one of the reasons why I relocated here, because in the UK, the weather is gloomy. It rained all the time, and that affected everyone's mood. Here, besides November till around December, or more accurately, January, when it gets cold, and oh, it does get cold in LA in December. It's very warm. You can typically go to the beach almost all year round. Chill, relax. The weather is yummy if you prefer a humid weather. One bizarre thing that happens in LA, when it rains, people literally freak out. Like they don't know how to drive. On a normal day, they drive like crazy people. But when it rains in LA, people become so humble on the roads. They're like, oh my God, what is this thing? Where is the sunlight? Was spoiled. Dream City. LA is a spiritual city. People often talk about how much of a superficial town or city that it is, but the city itself is very spiritual, in my opinion. And I say this because as someone who has now been living in LA for 6 years, LA chooses people. It chooses people, but at the same time, there are those that it spits out. When you move here, you meet so many people at the start of your journey.
Oh my God, we're totally gonna be BFFs.
And then you start to notice people leave as well, for different reasons. Some realize they moved here for the wrong reasons, or the city drains you mentally or financially, as some people move here with around $300 and try to start a life here with that. For some, it works out. Google Taraji P. Henson's story, for example. Even though this was years ago, she did move to LA with, I'm sure, less than $1,000 if I'm not mistaken. People still do that today. The problem is it doesn't work out for everyone, as some people end up in awful situations. New people come in, new people go, new people come in, more people go. There's a certain vibe and energy in this city that I love and feed off, and I doubt I can ever get from any other city in the world. Because every city has its unique essence. Also, connections and lessons. The people I've met here and the lessons I've learned through the years are things that all the money in the entire world could not buy. Everyone that moves here, works here, anyone that has lived in Los Angeles for over a month knows exactly what I'm talking about. Speaking of connections, I've connected with people from all over the world in LA. Japan, Russia, Brazil, Lebanon, Peru, Mexico. I've made so many connections with different people from all over the world. It's pretty fantastic. I love learning about other cultures, trying new cuisines. And I have to say this, from my experience, LA natives are some of the most chill and most laid back and fantastic people you'll ever meet. It's the people that have moved from other countries, including Nigeria, that have taught me some of the most profound lessons in this city. Palm trees, numerous hiking trails. There are lots of beaches to explore. Santa Monica Beach, Venice Beach, Manhattan Beach, Long Beach. As someone who is from the island region of Nigeria, I'm mixed Nigerian. What's up? We out here. Half Deltan, half Bayelsan, fully Niger Deltan. Where I come from on my maternal side, there's a lot of water and oil. To me, Los Angeles feels like home for many reasons, but especially because of the ocean and the palm trees as well. It reminds me of Lagos City, Nigeria. Living in Southern California is great. Because of its proximity to other neighboring cities and towns, Joshua Tree Desert, for example, is only 3 hours drive away. Palm Springs, about 2 hours away. Las Vegas, Nevada, roughly 4 hours drive away from Los Angeles. Phoenix, Arizona, 6 hours away. So many road trip opportunities and possibilities.
Catch fire.
You can go to San Francisco. Catalina Island is just over there, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. All that to say, there are a lot of neighboring cities and towns surrounding us that you would definitely love to explore and visit. And if you live here, you can just go anytime you want. Food and activities. There are tons of art exhibitions, museums to explore, musical festivals. For example, those happen almost every other weekend. Vegan fairs. The truth is, if I had to kill my meal, I wouldn't eat meat.
Yeah, California has almost 100 vivisection labs.
I never really have an attachment to like cheese or milk, but there's so many alternatives nowadays.
If you're into that, they have lots of those over here. There's also a vast amount of cuisines and restaurants to try. Mexican food, Japanese food. I never tried Ethiopian food until I moved to LA. And I was like, oh my gosh, my entire life is a lie. Oh my gosh, how did I not know of this fantastic cuisine from the motherland? Ethiopian food? Basically, if you're here to eat, like me, you will have no problem at all. I am a foodie and I am not ashamed. Only Jesus can judge me. Cons, the fakeness. For me, as I mentioned, many people move from out of town into LA. Many of us, in fact, I would say all of us, but not really. Most of us are chasing dreams actively. Some are in survival mode, looking for people to use for whatever you can offer them. Access to certain circles, a place to stay, your presence, food. The painful truth is, a lot of people in LA are looking for people to scam, generally. And it's a shame. But one way I've been able to reclaim my power is by changing how I think, or changing how I perhaps respond to people who attempt to use me or people who have used me in the past. One way I've been able to reclaim my power is by acknowledging, number one, you are who you attract. If you look around you and there are many fake people or leeches around you, surrounding you, and it's most likely a you thing. And you have to figure that out. We all do. Lack of boundaries or people pleasing, for instance, could make you tolerate users or leeches around you. Secondly, I had to acknowledge to myself, people can only use you if you let them. People can only use you if you let them. Life is give and take. Give and take. If you notice that the people around you only want to take from you, then you have to put them in their rightful place. This place called the dustbin. LA is expensive, just like any other big city in the world, like Tokyo, Paris, London, New York City. LA is expensive as well, and every little thing adds up here, including parking tickets, which officials do not hesitate to hand out if you so happen to park in the wrong place for 2 seconds. The cost of renting an apartment in LA in a safe place and neighborhood, even if it's a 1-bedroom, the prices for buying homes aren't friendly either. Things like groceries, tickets at parking structures. On average, for example, to braid your hair, for those of you who don't know what braids are, average cost $200. And I'm talking, most times, the braids aren't even that nice, but people have rent to pay, they have bills, and of course there are many people who are independent contractors and they go around people's houses braiding hair and they charge cheaper. Crazy gas prices. Gas in California is some of the most expensive across the country. Firstly, there is a functioning public transportation system in this city. For some reason, LA is one of those cities where it's almost compulsory to own a car. There are 2 reasons for this. The issue is, I don't know how reliable it is as far as getting one across the entire city. If someone wanted to go from downtown LA to Manhattan Beach, I can only imagine how long the entire trip will take. Before I moved here, I had no idea that metros or trains exist because no one talks about it. Here, it's not as straightforward to get around. I've heard from people that it's not entirely reliable as far as access to the entire town, but personally, I don't know. I drive. However, I've used the public transportation system here a couple times myself around the Santa Monica area. Quite the experience. If you're in LA and you lack inspiration, hop on a bus or metro in LA. You'll be fine. You end up with material for 8 seasons of a TV show. I promise you. Most people assume that there is no functioning public transportation system here because most of us get through the city by driving because it's so big and everything is so spread across. Another popular way of people moving around town is by using ride-sharing apps like Uber, Lyft. However, I've noticed that the general lack of interest in the public transportation out here has more to do with people keeping up with the fake LA appearances. As I said, I used to live in London. I would use the bus and trains like everyone else. When I visit New York City, I'll use the subway sometimes to get me around town as well. But it's only in LA. Only in LA will you find broke people clowning other people for using the public transportation system. In a city like London, you can say that what the public transportation does is serve as an equalizer between the rich, the poor, and the middle class because everyone uses those things over there, it doesn't matter. In LA, there is a disconnect with that. Everyone's in their car, fixated on their own dreams, and just honking at each other on the freeway. It's a different vibe. It's a very different vibe here. Lots of people complain about the traffic in LA. Now, depending on where life has taken you and where you've lived before moving here, the traffic may or may not be an issue to you. Yes, on some days, when it's rush hour, you can be stuck in traffic for like 40 minutes to an hour on very bad days. And depending on where you live, it can be worse. However, as someone who has experienced the brutal traffic that is Lagos traffic, I don't know, LA traffic doesn't move me that much. I just play my music, chill. Sometimes I get mad, but chill. The traffic really bothers a lot of people here though. People that move in, people that come and visit, that's all I ever hear. Oh my God, the traffic here is so bad. Oh my God, the traffic here is so bad. If that sort of thing bothers you, this may not be the city for you. Side note, it's advised to not honk at people in LA. Violent road rage incidences that we've had. I don't honk at people unless they do something very, 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 very bad. And even then, guys, I don't really honk at people. I just let them go. California income taxes are some of the highest across the entire country. Recently, there have been mentions of a mass exodus happening in California. There have been many reports since last year that suggest that a lot of Los Angeles residents are moving out of the City of Angels for good. According to the news, people are moving out in large numbers to other cities like Austin, Texas, to avoid things like taxes and general increase in rents or a lack of rent control implementations, for example. I'll explain this way. I am the founder of a registered LLC and my company is registered in the state of California. Yearly, every business operating in California is required to pay $800 business taxes. That's without any form of profit. I have friends in other states like Florida who also have registered film and production companies. Guess how much my friend in Florida, for example, pays? Their equivalent of the $800 California business tax in Florida is $200. What's the difference? The only difference is that I registered my company and just so happened to be based in California, so I have to pay one of the highest taxes in the entire country. So choose wisely, especially if you want to start a business, build your business out here, register your business in California. It's tough, but it's worth it. The weather makes it worth it. The lessons we learn make it worth it. When we achieve our dreams, which most of us moved out here for, it makes it worth it. Hopefully, this video has been able to convince you and not confuse you about your decision to move to LA or not. Someday I'll do a more specific video on lessons I've learned in Los Angeles. Top lessons. But that's a story for another day.